It's been months since it all ended, but there are still moments that play over and over in my head, like a movie clip on a loop. Not the good memories, not the fun times we shared. It's a single, cold, hard moment at a car dealership that I'll never forget. A moment when I finally realized the woman I had spent 2 years of my life with didn't love me at all. She was just playing a long game, and I was the final pawn she needed to sacrifice to win. And I let her, for months. All I ever heard about was Lauren's car. It was an old clunker that was more rust than metal, always breaking down, and always needing money she didn't have. Every problem she had, every missed opportunity, was blamed on that car. She missed a job interview because it wouldn't start. She was late to a party because it got a flat tire. Her life was a constant series of small crises, all of them, according to her, because of that one vehicle. The problem was, she couldn't just go buy a new one. Her credit was beyond shot. Years of treating bills as optional suggestions had left her with a score that made lenders laugh. My credit, on the other hand, was spotless. I've always been careful with my money, always paid my bills on time, a habit she always found cute. So, the idea of me co-signing for a car started out as a joke, but quickly became something more. A new car, she said, would change her life. She'd be happier, less stressed, and it would make our relationship better. And like a fool, I started to believe her. The pressure was relentless. She cried. She begged. She told me I was the only person who could help her, the one man who could get her life on track. She made it sound like this one signature was the key to our shared future. I knew it was a huge risk, but she was so convincing. I loved her, or at least I thought I did. I wanted to see her happy, and her constant talk of a new car becoming the solution to all her problems had worn me down. Finally, I gave in. I told her I would do it, but I had one condition. I would co-sign the loan and my name would be on the paperwork, but she would be the primary borrower. She would be responsible for every single payment, to make sure it was paid on time. I told her she would transfer the money to me 5 days before it was due, and I would send the payment to the bank from my account. That way, my credit would be protected. She agreed instantly, all smiles and promises. Of course, I would never mess up your credit, she said, her voice dripping with sincerity. This is my responsibility. And I believed her. We spent a few weekends car shopping, but she didn't want a sensible used car. She wanted a new, top-of-the-line SUV, white with a panoramic sunroof and all the bells and whistles. It was more car than she needed, and the monthly payments were going to be steep. I tried to talk her into something more reasonable, but she threw a fit right in the middle of the showroom. She accused me of not wanting her to have nice things, of trying to keep her down. Mistake number two. I gave in. We found the exact SUV she wanted. My credit worked its magic, and the loan was approved in minutes. They put the paperwork in front of us. I signed as the co-signer. Then she signed. As the ink was drying on her signature, she looked up at me with this little smirk. Thanks, she said, her voice a little too loud, a little too triumphant. Now I don't need you anymore. The finance guy, Stan, just kept his head down, pretending. He didn't hear, but I did. I heard it loud and clear. It was the sound of our 2-year relationship ending. All the hurt I might have felt was burned away by a cold, hard clarity. I wasn't her boyfriend. I was a tool, a stepping stone, and I had just unlocked the last door she needed me to open. I just nodded, a slow, deliberate motion. I stood up, pushed my chair in, and walked out of the office. Stan called after me. Sir, we just need one more signature. I kept walking. I heard Lauren say, don't worry. He's just being dramatic. I got in my own car and drove away. She had the keys to her new SUV. She could figure out how to get it home. My phone started buzzing a few minutes later, the screen lighting up with her name. I let it go to voicemail. The message was angry. Where did you go? I'm stuck here. Are you seriously going to ruin this for me? I didn't respond. I drove straight back to my apartment, the one we shared. I wasn't going to stay there another night. But I wasn't going to just leave either. The lease was in my name. When she finally got home a few hours later, driving her shiny new car, she was furious. She stormed in, ready for a fight. "What is wrong with you? You abandoned me. You almost messed up the whole deal." I was sitting on the couch, my packed bag at my feet. I just looked at her. "I heard what you said in the office, Lauren," her anger faltered. "I was just joking." "It was a joke. You're being way too sensitive." "No," I said, standing up. "You weren't joking. You were telling the truth. You finally got what you wanted, so congratulations." I picked up my bag. "I'm going to stay at my parents' place. You have 30 days to get your things and get out of my apartment." The color drained from her face. "What? You're breaking up with me over a joke and you're kicking me out." I walked to the door. "I'm not breaking up with you, Lauren. You already did that in the dealership. You just forgot to tell me. Now you have the car you always wanted, a fresh start. You just need a new place to park it." I walked out and closed the door behind me. I could hear her start to scream, but I just kept walking. That first night, the texts and calls were nonstop. First, it was anger, then fake apologies, and the classic, "I didn't mean it. I was just excited." When that didn't work, she tried to make me feel guilty. "You're throwing away 2 years over one comment." I didn't respond to any of it. I blocked her number, of course. That just meant the messages started coming from her friends and family. Her mom called me, told me I was being cruel and heartless. "Lauren loves that apartment," she said, "and she needs a stable place to live now that she has that big car." Payment. The irony was completely lost on her. I just politely told her the lease was in my name and the decision was final. As I expected, Lauren ignored the 30-day notice. She truly thought I wouldn't go through with it. On day 31, I had my lawyer, who I hired the day after the dealership incident, file for a formal eviction. The legal process is slow, but it's final. But the real drama, the part I'd been patiently waiting for, was with the car. Lauren had been living her best life, at least on social media. Her feed was nothing but pictures of the new SUV, the SUV at the beach, the SUV in front of expensive restaurants, her and her friends on a road trip in the SUV. She even gave it a name, Pearl. She was trying so hard to project this image of a successful, independent woman. What she didn't know was that a storm was brewing. The first payment for the car was due on the 15th of last month, as per our now broken agreement. She was supposed to transfer the money to me 5 days before that. Of course, the 10th came and went, and no money appeared in my account. I wasn't surprised. On the 15th, I got an automated notification from the bank. "Your auto loan payment of $580 is due today." I read it, and then I deleted it. I did not make the payment. A few days later, the call started, first to my phone. It was the bank's collections department. I answered. The guy on the phone was polite but firm. "Mr. Thompson, we're calling about your auto loan, which is now past due." I was just as polite. "I understand," I said calmly. "I am the co-signer on that loan. The primary user of the vehicle is my ex-girlfriend, Lauren Peterson. The car is in her possession." The verbal agreement was that she would be making all payments. She has not done so. You'll need to contact her for the payment. There was a pause. "Sir, as the co-signer, you are equally responsible for the debt. I am fully aware of my legal obligation," I said. "I am also aware that your primary course of action should be to collect from the person who has the asset. I have provided you with her name. All her contact information is on the loan application. I will not be making this payment." I knew this would hurt my credit. I had already run the numbers. It would be a temporary hit, maybe 50 or 60 points. It sucks, but it was a price I was willing to pay to get out of a 5-year, $35,000 loan for a woman who despised me. My credit is strong enough to absorb the hit and recover. Hers is not. A few days later, I got a furious text from a number I didn't recognize. It was Lauren. "Why is the bank calling me nonstop? They say the car payment is late. You were supposed to pay it. You're going to ruin my credit." I just replied with a screenshot of a comment she had made on a recent photo of her car. Someone had asked, "How do you afford such a nice ride?" And she had replied, "Hard work and being my own boss, babe." Under the screenshot, I just wrote one sentence. Hard work includes paying your bills. This is your responsibility now, don't contact me again. I blocked the new number. The bank calls became more frequent. The late fees piled up. I know this because her mother called me again. This time screaming, "You are a monster. You are doing this just to hurt her." She has a very simple solution. I told her calmly. She can pay the bill or she can return the car to the dealership, but she wants to keep the car and have me pay for it. And that's not going to happen. She told me she didn't need me anymore. That means she doesn't need my money or my credit score either. She was trapped. She couldn't afford the payment. She wouldn't give up the car. And with every day that passed, the consequences got worse. The bank had already sent the first official warning letter. The next one would mention repossession. And that's exactly what happened. The loan became 60 days past due. The bank was no longer making polite phone calls. They were sending certified letters to her and to me. The letters clearly stated that if the full past due amount was not paid immediately, they would initiate repossession of the vehicle. I, of course, continued to do nothing. I forwarded my copy of the letter to my lawyer just to keep him in the loop. Lauren, on the other hand, was having a complete meltdown. The eviction from my apartment was finalized. She had to move back in with her parents. Her mom had to co-sign for a storage unit for all the furniture she had bought. The independent boss babe lifestyle she was projecting on social media was a complete fantasy. In reality, she was broke, living with her mommy and daddy, and about to lose the one thing she thought was her ticket to a better life. She tried a few more desperate moves. She had a lawyer, probably some guy her dad paid for, send a letter to my lawyer demanding that I either start making the car payments or give her $10,000 for damages. My lawyer's response was a single page. It included a copy of the loan agreement showing her as the primary borrower and a polite suggestion that her client's time would be better spent selling the vehicle before it was repossessed. Then came the day I had been waiting for. I knew she was now living at her parents' suburban house. Last Saturday, my buddy Dave, who lives a few towns over, texted me, "Dude, you are not going to believe this. I'm at a barbecue at my buddy's house, and it's right across the street from Lauren's parents' place, and a tow truck just pulled up." He sent me a picture. It wasn't a normal tow truck. It was a flatbed from a vehicle recovery company. A repo truck? Dave started giving me a play-by-play via text. The repo man walked up to the house and knocked on the door. Lauren's dad answered. There was a heated conversation on the front porch. A few minutes later, Lauren came out. Dave's text. She is losing her mind, yelling at the guy. Then her mom is out there now, too, crying. The repo man was a pro. He wasn't arguing. He just stood there with his clipboard, occasionally pointing at the white SUV parked in their driveway. Then came the best part. Dave's text. OMG, she just looked down the street and she saw us watching from the backyard. Her face. Dude, she knows people are seeing this. The public humiliation was the final nail in the coffin. She couldn't spin this. She couldn't lie her way out of it. There, in the bright Saturday afternoon sun, in front of her neighbors in a backyard full of strangers, her prized possession, her symbol of independence, was being hooked up to be taken away. Her face, Dave said, went from red with anger to completely white with shock and shame. The repo man loaded the SUV onto the flatbed, secured it, and drove away. Just like that, Pearl was gone. The phone call came about an hour later. It was Lauren from a blocked number. She wasn't yelling this time. She was sobbing, a broken, defeated sound. They took it. She wept. They took my car. I didn't say anything for a long moment. I know you did this, she accused, her voice thick with tears. You could have stopped it. You ruined my life. No, Lauren, I said, my voice completely calm. I didn't do this. You did. You did this in the finance manager's office when you looked me in the eye and told me you didn't need me anymore. I just decided to believe you. You wanted to be independent. This is what independence looks like. It means paying for your own things. She started to say something else, but I cut her off. You're right about one thing, though. You don't need me anymore, and now I don't have a $35,000 loan connecting me to you. So, I don't need you either. We're finally done. I hung up the phone and blocked the number. The fallout has been immense for her. She's now on the hook for the difference between what the car sells for at auction and the remaining loan balance, which will be thousands of dollars. Her credit is so completely destroyed, it will take her the better part of a decade to fix it. If she ever does, she has no car, a mountain of debt, and she's living in her childhood bedroom. My credit took the hit I expected, but it's already starting to recover. It was a calculated cost. A few $100s in legal fees and a temporary dip on my credit report was the price I paid to surgically remove a financial and emotional cancer from my life. It's the best deal I ever made. She thought the car was her finish line. She didn't realize it was tied to a starting gun that would blow up in her face. She got her independence, and it left her with absolutely nothing.